This hearing this morning is part of the official business of the United States House of Representatives. This hearing is of the Subcommittee on Government Operations and the Federal Workforce, and we will come to order. I would like to welcome each and every one of you who are here today for this important event. Without objection, the chair may declare a recess at any time. I recognize myself for the purpose of making an opening statement. And my opening statement is that I'm delighted the community come to this hearing today. We have very specifically received not only a warm welcome the mayor, but also many of you and my colleagues also who are from this island. This island is made up of beautiful people with a rich heritage, and we, all of us as members of Congress, come here with great respect for you. I want to say to you and each of you and my colleagues in the House of Representatives, the United States Congress, but also to the people of the United States of America. We watched with horror of the scenes, but you lived through it. It was you who had to suffer not only the problems that happened so quickly that enveloped, took lives, but also that night who had to take count of where you were. As Americans, we watched this and we were horrified. And so we today join with you as my colleagues to come here, I think, in an appropriate time to not only say we want to hear about this, but to let you know that we care about you. We care, each of my colleagues that care about what happens not only here in the rebuilding, but they care about each of you, not just as a people, but the lives that are lived here. So I think it's important that the way that you greeted us, we return that back to you and say, thank you. I'm pleased to be joined today by the ranking member for this hearing, the gentlewoman from California, Congresswoman Porter. Both she and I are making this trip because we feel compelled to come and not only hear what we need to hear, but to make this trip to assess for our subcommittee the things which we might learn, which may help others in the future. I'm also grateful for the assistance of my dear friend Ed Case. Congressman Case represents Hawaii's 1st Congressional District, and he is here with me. Ed, thank you for taking the time to be here. And I want to give special mention to Congresswoman Dakota, who the people of this beautiful Lahaina have had her in her prayers and dreams, but in her hard work for a long, long time. Thank you for taking time and to greet us as we got together last night to learn more about her thoughts and her ideas. She is equally a part of this success and what we're doing here today. She also knows that the 1-year anniversary of the fires that took 102 lives will not be forgotten and will be a part of the discussion and on our memory and minds today. But this is the jewel of the islands. We call this, because I think you do, the jewel of Hawaiian history and of culture. And from the people that I've spoken with that also were here to help, they believe that. On behalf of the House Oversight Committee, I want to extend our condolences to those of you who had those that were lost or injured, and express to you that I know that your loved ones, friends, and neighbors in the community you represent also today, and perhaps that is why you were here. By traveling perhaps a long way, me from Texas, others who came here from California, but those who represent the federal government, FEMA and other agencies, they have been on the ground here for a year. They feel like their lives have been benefited because they gave up service back to people in this island, and I wish to thank them at this time on behalf of the United States Congress and the American people for their work, their diligence, honesty, and the reasons why they came were to be of help and assistance. I think that should not be forgotten. So a sincere thank you also goes out to representatives of the Maui County government and the mayor's office, and the mayor who is here with us today, to make sure that what we're doing here today is not just here that we respect you and say thank you to you, but a working relationship that is being pushed a little bit more by the United States Congress being here. My ranking member, Mr. Mfume, who is from Maryland, cannot be here today. As you may know, he represents the area where the bridge fell in Baltimore Harbor. He has his own issue. And so it is today that I say to you, Mr. Mfume, as the ranking member of this subcommittee, simply cannot be here, but wishes that and he wants me to express his sincere wishes to each one of you, as I have done and as each of my colleagues will do. And certainly the point of view for the community itself. We expect to hear back things that may not be foreign to us, but that will be very special to you. And we're open to hearing that. I've heard from our members of the federal government who are here working that they've tried to respect not only the culture, but the feedback from people, and I'm proud of this. We also appreciate the need for housing, which existed before the fire and certainly now. To hear all too frequently the sons and daughters of those who call Hawaii home cannot afford to call it home for themselves anymore and have had to seek other places. And we came to get a sense of the beautiful history that this island and islands represent. Not just the culture, but the beauty that it represents. Some elements are simply uniquely Hawaiian. Yesterday, my staff from the Government Reform and Oversight Subcommittee, both Republican and Democrat colleagues of ours, toured the area to include sacred places to many people that are here on these islands. And it was important that we got that knowledge of the sensitivity, not only that each of you represent, but that we need to acknowledge and respect. And we do. Some of these elements are common to all of us, but some are very special, and we respect that. As I recollect the same case that I was aware of back in 9/11, we were dealing with very difficult issues. The sensitivity of people who lost thousands of lives. And while there's no way to look at a brother or a son or a daughter or grandparents or parents, there is the ability that we have to come and listen and uniquely understand their loss and to give them a sense of hope and confidence that us working together as Americans, we can make it work. But I understand and respect what we may hear today. I also want you to know that we have gathered together witnesses that we believe represent the best of not only the hard work that's being done here, but those who respect hearing back from the community, hearing back from elected officials. And while this may be a difficult part of the process to make decisions, I spoke to the mayor this morning specifically, and I said, Mr. Mayor, please know that while there's much work to be done, there are also decisions that I encourage you and your colleagues to be together so that it's done properly. And the mayor reminded me, Congressman Sessions, if you get 10 people in a room, you may get 10 answers. And I respectfully said back to the mayor, that is why we respect the ability of local people to make local decisions and to come up with an answer. This subcommittee's work regarding disaster recovery really began last year. It began last year with me as chairman of the subcommittee. That's not only government operations, but it's the federal workforce. As we held a field hearing in Fort Myers, Florida, into the recovery of Hurricane Ian. And we were very successful in not only approaching the community, but listening. And I think that we are doing the right thing today. Our intent in these hearings is now and was to specifically open our ears and to receive feedback. Feedback that may result itself perhaps in FEMA or other organizations learning new things, but the United States Congress seen firsthand. The United States Congress seen firsthand about, on a bipartisan basis, how we can work together on issues that are like this. Every disaster is different, and every disaster has its unique circumstances. Once again, that is part of the mission of this subcommittee, to be here to listen, to learn what was working, what might need to be done, and the needs that we need to be aware of. At the individual level, there are many that are seated here who bring tears of grief and perhaps uncertainty. While we cannot alleviate all the fears or take care of all the harm that has happened, we are here to say that you have come to the right place to hear a story of a group of people who came to try and help and to make better this island so that it is better prepared for tomorrow. And that is why we are here. We know that no federal agency, indeed no human institution, can address every concern. But we are here today under official business to do our duty as best we see it. And I will tell you, it is being done not just on a bipartisan basis, but it's being done with us together. I would like to, if I can, at this time, recognize I have 3 colleagues from the Democratic Party. We refer to them as a minority, but they are colleagues of mine. Well, we refer to each other in majority and minority. In this case today, I want to recognize the gentlewoman from California, and she will then offer the order in which she would choose to give the opening statements. But to let you know that Congresswoman Porter has taken time from the subcommittee to represent what we believe is important, and that is Mr. Nfume and these ideas, to make sure you know that we see this together. The gentlewoman is now recognized.